Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, a lot of times here on YouTube, when I've made videos about Deontay Wilder in the past, a lot of his fans or people from the LDBC will come on my comments and they'll say, BT, why do you say that Deontay Wilder is in a witness protection program for boxing, or why do you say these things? And I'll give you the explanation. So let me get up and pace back and forth. Let me give you the explanation as to why I've been saying that Deontay Wilder is in a witness protection program, because I'm sure I'm gonna say it in a video in the future, and I'm sure there's gonna be somebody who's never heard my videos before and doesn't know the explanation as to why. So I will just use this link, this video, and refer them to it if they ask. Okay, now Deontay Wilder being in a witness protection program, I've made videos I've told prominent LDBC members, I'm not gonna name them, but I've told prominent LDBC members in their own lives that he's in a witness protection program and that he needs to stop lying to the people. Okay, and he got mad and he blocked me, and then he went on a whole rant about me. People don't understand what I mean when I say that. They think I'm saying that Deontay Wilder is hiding from fighters, he's hiding from boxing. So based on the fact that he steps in the ring and that he's a public figure, that he can't be in a witness protection program. He can't be in a witness protection program because, he's with the Pope. He's hung out with the Pope, and the Pope has 1 billion followers. You know what I'm saying? So what do you mean, True School Sports? What do you mean, BT, when you say that Deontay Wilder is in a witness protection program? Well, I've said that he's in a witness protection program for boxing because if you look at his resume as a fighter, he never progressed through the levels of boxing like you're supposed to when you're a contender, when you're a prospect, when you go to fight for the title. He never did that. If you look at his career, you can look at fights like, his 25th professional fight against Damon McCreary, when he fought a guy who was a butterball, a butter bean, if you will. Damon McCreary, a guy who turned pro at middleweight in 1998 and ate himself into an obese mess when he fought Wilder as a heavyweight in it was 2011 or 2012, whatever it was. These are the kind of guys Wilder was fighting in his 25th fight. Then he, a couple fights before that, he's fighting guys like Owen Beck, the Jamaica heavyweight champion of the world, at the Brawl at the Mall. Okay. Then, even when he became champion, okay, when he won the title, he beat Stavern, and Stavern was never really highly regarded. But then he made 10 title defenses against nondescript, overmatched, uninspiring opposition. The likes of you had the likes of Yohan Duopa, who was a very unknown French contender at the time. You had who else? You had what's his name? Dominic Brazil. I mean, nobody asked for a Dominic Brazil fight, but he gave it to us. He fought Luis Ortiz twice, and then the second time was extremely unnecessary because the first time he actually won convincingly by stopping him and folding him up. But he wanted to bless him with another opportunity. That's one reason we said he was in a witness protection program for boxing, because he didn't want to fight any of the elite fighters. He picked up the title. He picked up a world title belt before Anthony Joshua and before Tyson Fury. So he had relatively a 10-month head start on Tyson Fury, and he had about a 13 or 14 month head start on Anthony Joshua before either of these guys became world champion. Yet he didn't unify any titles. He didn't attempt to unify any titles. He didn't try to fight Vladimir Klitschko. His manager said that he's a kid. He's a baby. He needs time to grow into becoming a champion. Even when some of the lesser champions were around, because he had the chance to fight Charles Martin, he couldn't fight Charles Martin, and that would have been easy pickings for him, or at least that's what I would have thought. Never tried to unify with Charles Martin. Joseph Parker was around for a little bit. That could have been another chance to unify for the titles. He never tried to unify with him, and then. Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, all parties involved, they made 3 offers to the guy, and his team turned all 3 of them down. A $12 million flat fee, a $15 million flat fee, and the opportunity to fight for the undisputed title in 2 fights, 2 big Joshua paydays for $100 million plus, and he turned it down. But he's doing all this, right? So he's turning down. He's either turning down or refusing to unify the division with certain fighters And all while he's doing this, he's talking about unifying the division. One face, one name, one champion. You know, we know how Wilder does. He says, right after I unify the heavyweight division, right after I unify the heavyweight division, that he'd fight these guys. But you know, he's too busy. He's too busy blessing Luis Ortiz with another opportunity, and then he'll sit here and he'll point the finger at Alexander Povetkin and saying that he's a steroid user. He takes PEDs because of meldonium, which if you've done your due diligence on the meldonium case, you know that first of all, meldonium is not anything as bad as anabolic steroids. It's not even really a PED. It was banned. It was banned from the WADA list like I think 2 or 3 months before all that stuff came out. It was a crazy thing where they banned it at a certain date, and then a lot of the Russians, not just in boxing but Eastern Europeans in general, started testing positive in a lot of sports because they didn't really notify the athletes that was banned. They just banned it, and whoever had it in the system 3 or 4 months prior to when they banned it, they just tested positive, and then they called them a cheat. And then what's funny was Wilder pulled out the fight, and then Povetkin's promoter Raya Binsky actually winds up taking Wilder to court and winning in America. But Wilder's fanboys never spoke about that. So with that being said, and with that being taken into account, he's calling Povetkin a cheat. But then meanwhile, the guy in Luis Ortiz who took anabolic steroids, tested positive for anabolic freaking steroids, the worst thing you could probably put in your system because you still get the benefits of anabolic steroids years after you first taken it. And they have no problem with that. They have no problems with that. They have no qualms, no gripes, no criticisms of that. So he was in a witness protection program for boxing because he refused to fight the other elite fighters or the other world champion fighters. I mean, he had the belt. Deontay Wilder had the heavyweight title, the WBC heavyweight title, for 5 freaking years. Let me repeat that again. He had the belt for 5 freaking years. Okay? Half a decade. And he never once actually attempted to unify the heavyweight division. Where do we see, like, I've never heard of anything like that before. Like, what heavyweight champion from now or yesteryear have you heard of hold the heavyweight title for 5 years and not try to fight the other best champions in the division? I think it's pretty unprecedented what Wilder was able to accomplish in terms of avoiding the champions, other top contenders for so long in his weight class, a heavyweight. You know, so I called him. I said that he was in a witness protection program for boxing because you couldn't pay this guy enough to fight for undisputed. He would he would use the most minute things to pull out of fights, as far as with Povetkin, and then find another cheater later on in his career. And then on top of that, he's got steel plates in his right hand. I don't care how big or small they are. It's still steel in your right hand. So I'm just saying, man. It's still in your right hand, and we never hear his fans talk about that. So he's in witness protection. He was in witness protection. And anybody who asks me this question again, I'll just refer you to the link in this video because he didn't try to unify in his 10 years or his 5 years that he had the title. And he had some pretty favorable matchups while he did have the title that probably would have benefited him had he taken the fights. But Shelly Finkel, and I want to highlight that too before I end the video. It was his manager, Shelly Finkel, who created this witness protection culture around his career. And you can't do that in boxing. The best got to fight the best, So that's how it's got to be. But yeah, leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.